they're making of them.
Josh Whedon. And you produced Dollhouse after being away from television for a while. Now that Dollhouse is over, I mean, how are you feeling about television? Kind of like, what lessons have you learned about sort of what television wants and supports right now?
We, I think, both benefited from the great square hole of television, the WB, where they were just interested in people like us who had a story we knew how to tell, and they let us do that. That is very rare. Doesn't exist anymore. Literally, the WB doesn't exist anymore. You know, my experiences at Fox have not been successful, and ultimately it is just because there is a certain kind of incompatibility that is very easy to miss. Because I like genre stuff, that's what they wanted. You know, you say the word sexy, you know, sex, they think that's sexy, but can you not mention sex? It's just, I clearly have more of a cable mentality than I realized. And I've been away from television for a while, and I didn't know that. I didn't know how much things had changed. I didn't look at Janet Jackson's nipple, and I didn't know how much trouble it caused. So I kind of, you know, what I learned was know your audience, and your first audience are the people who are paying you to make the thing. Which is why right now, you know, I'm at Marvel. I'm extremely happy I'm working with Kevin Feige, and it's a very different experience. This is, you know, Kevin and Jeremy, the two people I work with, the executives, that they're the studio, they're the producers. You know, it's the same entity, and they know what they want. And up front, they're very clear when they don't get it. They know what they want, and that's a great experience. The other one is doing stuff, you know, on the internet, the smaller stuff where I'm the boss, but I have to call my friend to see if he has any outfits. You know, and both of those are great for different reasons. Television, I love serialized storytelling, but yeah, I didn't quite think that one through.
You love serialized storytelling. Is there still a market right now for like intensely serialized stories? I mean, Lost is over now, unfortunately, and it seems that as it kind of went out, there seems to be that the TV landscape kind of turned against intensely serialized stories. And do you sense that TV networks are not interested in that kind of format right now?
I think typically they're not. They want shows that can repeat. They want shows, you know, the studios want shows that will syndicate and serialized shows. I'm just personally less naturally interested in non-serialized shows. I enjoy the investment in and the anticipation in the characters and what's going to happen, what conditions are really going on, and you know, to me that's the thing that always grabs you. And I think they want it too. They just don't know it. When they talk about stories imply time. Stories imply inevitability and some kind of progress. And so I think that the trick is, and I know that, you know, the showrunners on Fringe have been working really hard to kind of maintain an ongoing story as well as keeping every episode feeling as much as a, you know, self-contained thing as possible. But I'm personally drawn to that this new show that we're doing on NBC, Undercovers, is a show that is much more self-contained, but it naturally will have, and has just, you know, as we've been working on the episodes, develop a story that is being told over time. You don't need to watch 1 through 5 to get what's happening in 6. But to me, that's the story that, whatever it is, I'm naturally drawn to that kind of story.
Josh, did you want to take that question at all?
Just, you know, I think the networks will never ever ask for that. They will never admit that people want that, because they do see the easy cash cow of the Mentalist. Let's all make the Mentalist. And when Lost first hit and was just blowing up huge and everybody was loving it, we were all so into it, they were still like, we don't want that. That successful Emmy-winning thing? No, yeah, we don't want that. I mean, they would speak against serialized storytelling while it was the only thing people were watching on television, because they're thinking bottom line. It's very weird, because ultimately the serial is always going to be the thing people remember. What do they remember about Cheers? Sam and Diane, not, you know, a great joke from Cheers. They remember that. And so it's, you know, I like both. I like to have some sort of resolve, so I don't feel like I just, you know, I'm still angry about The Empire Strikes Back, okay? That movie doesn't have an ending. So, you know, I like to split the diff, but yeah, the progression is what it's all about. Well, it doesn't. He's frozen in carbonite.
Before we open it up to questions, I'd love to know kind of like what's inspiring you guys like right now. We talk a lot about your influences, we talk a lot about your sort of relationship to your past, but like right now, who's doing things that are like you know, inspiring you visually? Who's doing things that's inspiring you in storytelling?
I love Edgar Wright. I just saw Scott Pilgrim is awesome, and I loved it. And you know, I mean, there are a lot of different people who are doing stuff. You know, Chris Ware, who's an amazing comic artist. So I cannot, the stuff he does with time and kind of stopping time and taking you on these tangents. I mean, there's certain people who just blow my mind. And you know, but usually I just feel like there are a lot of people. I mean, I could go on a huge list, but that'd be even more boring, sir.
I'm just gonna say, you know, making the Avengers, that's cool. So I must be awesome. But I'm also watching a lot of stuff, you know, just sort of looking for moods and things. You know, you end up watching a lot of films. And I will say, not inspiring, but I have had actual moments of sheer fucking panic because I love Star Trek so much. I just keep watching it and going, no, I'm sorry, you have to hear this. The time the children knew. I honestly watch it and I go, this is the gold standard for a teen movie, for a summer movie, for any movie that has come out in the last couple of years. And it makes me throw up with fear. So I have to stop watching it.
Okay. Like in terms of storytelling, I mean, like you guys are definitely known for long form storytelling. Does that come more naturally to you, or?
I don't think there's a better. I think it's apples and oranges. What you can do in a movie, what you can accomplish, is so extraordinary and so fulfilling, and you get to be done, which, believe me, is a huge relief. But being able to spin a story over, say, 7 years, or even just 15 episodes, 11 of which they are out of order, is so. Until now. That's a different kind of fulfillment. It's kind of a slow burn thing, but to me, may, gun to my head, be the greater of the two. And then I really didn't hear that. This sounds. What quality do I bring? I can't answer that.
Well, one quality that we associate with you, Joss, is just your dialogue. I mean, you're just. At what point does that come into your creative process? I mean, is it something that you find over countless drafts, or is it something that just comes very naturally?
That's just people talking. I don't write second drafts, really. I mean, obviously you have to, but to an extent, I don't put anything down until it's right. The dialogue is, unfortunately, sometimes I write it before I come up with a plot, and then I have to sort of figure out how to get to it, which is a little awkward. I gotta work on that. But I just.
You go to second drafts?
Generally speaking.
Faster. I can't. It's amazing. Wow.
I can name at least 6 episodes where it shows.
With Lost, just the way that it ended, was it everything that you expected from the beginning, without giving anything away, obviously, with spiritually, science-wise, everything? I mean, was it everything, now looking back on it, is it what you wanted? And it's awesome, by the way. I loved it.
Thank you very much, and awesome impersonation. At the outset. First of all, Damon Lindelof, with whom I created the show, and Carlton Cuse ran the show for the 6 seasons, and they it was an amazing thing when we first started, before Carlton was even there. It was like, Damon and I were in sort of crazy panic, and we wrote this Bible of what it would be, and we wrote a whole bunch of ideas, and you sort of throw out the best ideas, and it's very optimistic, it's a huge leap of faith, and you think this is what this show could be. And a lot of those things ended up being in the series, most of them did not. And over the course of time, thank God Carlton came on board, started to work, with Damon. The two of them are, I can't describe how brilliant they are. They and the other writers, directors, Jack Bender, they all started working on making this thing what it became. There were ideas that I know in the first season we thought, oh, this will be cool, and this is what it will mean, but you must be fluid and flexible. And even if you have the time to write every episode of every season for 6 seasons, you'd be doing yourself a disservice, because you would not anticipate, and could not, Michael Emerson coming on board for what was supposed to be a couple episodes. And you just realize, oh my God, Ben is critical to the story, as Damon and Carlton did, and wrote to it. So you have to be sort of dogmatic and know what you want to do, but you also need to be entirely flexible and listen to the show and go where it tells you. And I personally, even though I know there are a lot of people who have dissenting opinions, I personally believe that Damon and Carlton kicked incredible ass and wrote an amazingly emotional episode for the finale that wrapped it up very well.
I just wanted to thank you on behalf of the audience for actually giving us content that makes us think and challenges us. Did either of you get to keep any paraphernalia from your movies and series, specifically any Rand-Baldi artifacts?
It's from Alias, Joss. It's a show. It was on ABC. 5 seasons. Glorious, 5 glorious seasons. I have page 47. I have a bunch of the box. I have the Rand-Baldi box. I have a bunch of cool Rand-Baldi things, and I was lucky from Star Trek to get some phasers and cool gear, and Mission Impossible, the mask machine. So I do love that stuff. I don't hoard it and want to be a scary person that's on the show Hoarders. Have you seen Hoarders, by the way? Holy shit, how can that be a show? How many hoarders? It's unbelievable. Anyway, I'm scared of becoming a hoarder. Anyway.
Well, no. None of Rand-Baldi stuff. It's weird. So I ordered some online and it didn't come. I do have all the props and costumes from Dr. Horrible, which I was planning to sell at some point to help fund the next one. I don't get terribly attached to things or people.
Okay, so my question is for Joss Whedon. Wow, big echo. You are taking on the Avengers movie that has an established tone, an established backstory and mythology, and you have one of the most unique voices in Hollywood yourself. So how are you going to reconcile those two sort of established styles?
They're all going to sound like me. No problem. The fact is, the first job I had outside of television was a script doctor. And what you have to do in that situation is blend in. I also, a lot of the way that I speak and write comes from reading these comics. I think it's very, very easy to fall into the aesthetic of something that you love. Obviously, I'm going to bring some of myself to it. I'm an artist who wishes to create something that comes from within, but at the same time, yes, they do have an established tone. I'm going to be very respectful of that. I'm going to try and find ways to work. I mean, the thing is, they not only have an established tone, they have about 7. Because I'm culling things from, all these different movies. I have to blend all of that. I think ultimately that would result in something unique anyway. So I think that doesn't really seem like a challenge to me at all. When I write Tony Stark or Steve Rogers or any of these people, they sound like them, particularly because I already know who's playing them.